Now in this video, I'm going to continue to analyze the data. And what we're going to look at is we want to understand, look at the who won the game, whether it was the home team that won or the visiting team that won. So maybe our hypothesis would lead us to believe that more often than not, the home team is going to win the game. But we need to be able to analyze the data to determine if that's the case. Or if it is true, how many more times the home team won over the visiting team. So there's different ways we can do that, but I think what we're going to do today is we're going to create a frequency distribution to demonstrate the frequency in which the home team won versus the frequency in which the visiting team won. We can also graph this as well. So that's what we're going to do in this video. So let's start on our analysis tab. What we're going to do is we're going to take a look at the values for our winner, and we're going to look at the frequency in which they occur. Let's put both those in bold. Control B to bold those. Now our two values are, I'm going to go over to my game log tab. If I take a look at winner, it's either a value of home or visit. Those are the two possible values, because in baseball there's no such thing as a tie. It's either the home team's going to win or the visiting team's going to win. So in capital letters, home or visit are my two values. So if I go over to my analysis tab, and I'm going to say the two values are home and visit. Those are my two possible values. All right, so now what I need to do is be able to calculate the frequency in which the winner is equal to home and the frequency in which the winner is equal to visit. So in order to do that, I'm going to use the count if function, equal sign, to indicate that this is going to be a formula. I'm going to do the count if, and then left parentheses. So what it's going to do is it's going to ask for a range of values that it's going to count, and then give it a criteria. What is it going to look for? So my range of values, I'm going to now go to my game log and then select the first value, L2, Control Shift down arrow. All right. So now I have all the rows selected. And you can see up here in my function that it's going to the game log and selecting those values. Now after this, I'm going to enter the criteria. So first I need to type comma. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to do in parentheses HOME, closing parentheses, or close quotes, sorry, and then a right parentheses. So this is the formula. And now when I hit enter, it's going to go back to my analysis tab, and it's going to give me a count. Right there's my count. So it's going through the game log and counting the number of times where that value is equal to what I have in parentheses here. Now the thing is, we're kind of hard coding this in, and that's a poor practice, because let's say we really wanted to count visit here, it's going to give us the same number. So a better way to do this is, rather than hard coding the word home, let's actually give it a cell reference to look at. So we're going to delete that part, keep the comma, and then just click on the A7 cell. So it's going to put in this reference to A7, and now hit enter. We'll get the same number, but now rather than looking specifically at the word home, it's going to look for whatever value I have entered in here. So now if rather than typing home, if this is going to be a visit value, that frequency now changes. So I'm going to do undo to undo that change. So now I'm referencing A7. So what I can do here is, rather than going back and repeating the process for visit, I can just give my absolute references here. So L2, I'm going to put an L, a $ before the column indicator and the row indicator, and the value won't change. And now when I drag this down, it's going to use the same set of values, and it's automatically going to go from A7 to A8. So it automatically, as I drag this down, it's moving this pointer to what value we're looking at from A7 to A8. So now this time it's going to be looking at the same data and then looking for the value of visit. So that means from 1990 through 2019, the home team has won a total of 37,729 of those games, whereas the visiting team has won 32,453 of those games. So let's take let's take that data and let's look at this graphically. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to select the data. Let's see, let's do this. Select the data right here. And then under Insert, I'm going to insert just a simple bar chart, right? Just like this. So, and actually it shows me a preview of what it's going to look like. And I think that's pretty good. So let's go with this. It's going to select the simple bar chart. And I can drag this over to where I want to work with. And so it indicates the home team and the visitor team. But what we can do is we can also change different styles. So if we click this under Design tab, it shows us there's different ways we can display this data. And actually, if I hover over it, it changes the look of the diagram. So we'll go with this default value. But what I want to do, there's couple changes that I want to make. I want to first change the title. I want to include the value. We can see the Excel knows what that value is, the 37,729, same for the visiting team. But one thing and this is a really important item to change here, is the y-axis. So right now it looks like the home team wins much more than the visiting team. But the problem is our y-axis doesn't start at 0. So this difference is not nearly as big as it appears to be. And this is a real problem with when presenting our data. Our y-axis should show the entire range so that we are not distorting any differences between values. So we're going to make a couple changes. First, we're going to change the title. So if I double click on frequency, I can change the frequency, and we're going to just call this home versus away or visit wins. All right, so I changed that. So next what I want to do is I want to change the y-axis. So if I click on the y-axis and I go over here to Format, if I click on that right column, I can see the axis option. I'm going to click on that triangle to expand that. And right now it get defaulted to a range of values between 29,000 and 39,000. I don't care, the maximum value is fine, but that minimum value should not start at 29,000. It should start at 0. So when I click on that and then click off to the side, it's going to readjust the graph. Now it's going to go from 0 to an even 40,000. And now you can see that the difference between the home wins and the visit wins is not nearly as great of a difference as what we saw before. So next, what we want to do is we want to add values to show how many, this value of how many home, so the 37,000 home wins versus the 32,000 home wins. So what we're going to do is we're going to modify this chart to include the actual values within the box for each of these plots. Now, in order to do that, we can simply go over to the upper left-hand corner and add a chart element. So if I click on that, it's going to open up a drop-down window. And what we want to do is we want to select data labels. So right now, none is selected. So data labels would be the value for each of these bars. So what I want to do is I want to have the data appear towards the top and at the end. So when I put my cursor over this, it actually shows me different places that I can have the data appear. So right here is where I want to do is I want the inside end option. So when I select that, click on inside end, and now it puts the actual values in there. So, now I want to be able to format that. So first I'm going to select that data, and then in Excel, go to the Home tab, and I want to, first of all, change the font color. I'm going to change that to white. I'm also going to make it bold, and then I'm going to enlarge it. 1, 2, 3. Let's move it to 12-point font. That looks pretty good there. All right, so now with this, we have our frequency distribution calculated, and we also displayed that graphically and fixed some of the important errors that we see when this plot was originally created. We added a meaningful heading. We changed the y-axis, which was really important to begin with 0, and we added some column values in here, or bar values, so we can see the difference between the two. So this was our frequency distribution table and our frequency distribution plot for a categorical data.